Spain's southern coast is home to the world's largest surface area of greenhouses in the world, earning it the nickname the Plastic Coast. These greenhouses transform the region's economy, producing a bounty of fresh produce that gets exported around the world. Many of the farmers are members of cooperatives, and one of the leading organisations there is the Unica group. Its leader, Enrique de los Rios, was recently in Melbourne to talk with the peak body for Australian cooperatives, the BCCM, who we'll hear from shortly. But first, let's hear a little bit from Enrique about farming on Spain's plastic coast.
We produce produce and fruits, and we are around 5,000 farmers, 5,000 employees at the packing houses, and 12,000 workers at the farms.
And are they located in a certain area of Spain?
Basically, we are located what is called the Plastic Sea in the south of Spain. It's an area of 50 kilometers long, where 80% of the European needs for produce during 5 months in the year are located, but we have also co-ops around Spain.
Is it mainly for domestic consumption, or do you export as well?
No, we are mainly oriented to export. We feel that we are more German growers than Spanish growers.
At the moment, there is quite a severe drought in Spain. What does that look like from a farmer's point of view?
We can say that we are used to this kind of things because Spain is like Australia. We are at the border of humidity and desert, but this year has been extremely hard. So at the coast, we can take water and make desalination for the greenhouses, but inside, for the orange trees and stuff, it's going to be a very, very tough year. Some trees will not produce this year.
Is there a risk of any of those permanent trees dying?
It is. And we just irrigate them as an emergency, but not to produce.
So the farmers in your co-op all over Spain really are dealing with the drought, and I imagine like farmers all over the world, they're paying more for things like agricultural chemicals and fertiliser now because of the war in Ukraine. So is that really adding up in terms of the bills that they're paying?
It is. What we try is first to try to contain the increase of cost, but also to transmit the cost to consumers. And for our surprise, this year, customers were more willing to accept price increases because they knew that it was true, and if they wanted to have fresh produce in Europe, they have to go through it. Even though increase has been around 15%, but the cost has been increased also by 22%. So there's no compensation, really.
Consumers all over the world are dealing with really high inflation, especially around food. So you just mentioned your consumers, are happy to pay the higher prices. But is it reaching a limit where you think it might be reaching the maximum willingness to pay for things like fresh food?
Yes, I think that there is a kind of crystal ceiling there. But also I think that we should make more regarding marketing of fresh produce. For example, if you buy a croissant or a dorayaki, you are paying around $20 per kilo. But you do not realize because you pay per unit. If you buy a banana, you are paying one banana is around 20 cents of dollar. And it's at the same level of one dorayaki, which is $1.50. And so we are also making marketing of, do you really know what you are eating? Because this is cheap. One apple, 30 cents is cheap.
Is there anything about your cooperative structure that helps deal with these challenges or helps farmers deal with these challenges a little bit differently or easily than if they were just farming by themselves in the wide open market?
Of course, cooperative, there is a spirit inside the co-op. We are willing, we are comfortable with the needs and with the problems, let's say. So it's very cold outside, and they know it. But apart from that, we need to keep the culture of the co-op, because some growers may feel that they are okay, and they may feel, when I feel the need, I want the co-op, and when I am okay, I want to be individual. So we try to reinforce the cooperation culture continuously, making them aware of where they are in this situation.
And is that more than just about making sure that they're getting a good price for their produce?
Price is just the top of the iceberg. But if we say if you live out of price, you will die because of the price, because there will be always the perception that my neighbor is 1 cent more than I am. So who is paying me this difference? And this spirit, if it becomes selfish, can destroy the co-op. Then friction starts, and then factions, and then the co-op is over. So we try to reinforce what we call the emotional link with the co-op. You have to feel that this is much more than price. It's that we are a group. It's that we have more opportunities together. It's that we are goalkeepers, and we don't know where they are going to throw the ball. But if we are big, agile, resilient, and we react immediately to situations, then we have more probabilities to survive, and they know.
Can you talk a bit more about the extra things that you do in the co-op that would be included beyond just price?
Price is just an illusion. It's a perception that I have, and there are many engineers of price in other companies, and they know how to deal with growers in order to present them a better price than we do. So we try them to make them aware, and we, as I told you, we teach Stoic philosophy. Where are you? What is out of your control? What is in your control? And to develop a critic mentality, so that you are able to deal with this situation. You are not, let's say, impressed by your neighbor price, and you are able to say, okay, let's compare. Okay, but this is this quality. Oh, but this is today. We have to see the whole campaign and stuff. So we make them less reactive to price issues and more aware of the whole equation of value that is the co-op for them.
Farming in a co-op, to an extent, does that allow, leaders of the co-op like you to deal with some of the more political risks in terms of, government policies that might affect farming? I know there's a lot going on in the EU with, the relationship between farming and the EU and the government.
Yes, it's true. We in Europe, we are complicated, It's like Australia with 30 countries and 30 languages. You can imagine if you go from Melbourne to Sydney, 5 countries and many languages, and all of them thinking that they are the best in the world. So in the co-op, I'm more in the strategic area. I am in the European Union, for example, in the strategy farm to fork, and I devote time to that because we think that this is useful for the co-op. And then I keep people managing the co-op. We said yesterday that co-ops cannot be managed because by nature they have to be lead. So I try to keep people managing, and then I lead in the when there is an issue, I go there. But most of my time I am in the European Union or with the Ministry of, like Melina, this is here and there, trying to set the strategy and trying to align the law with our needs.
You are in Melbourne this week to talk with other Australian cooperatives. What is the message that you're bringing here?
Well, as I told you before, is that co-ops here and there are the same. Basically is the same. So, and cooperation cannot stop at the level of the co-op. It has to go further. I mean, we have to make strong federations of co-ops in order to face the market, and a strong association of co-ops in order to face the government. And this is an endless thing that we have to keep, because when we feel that we are okay, cooperation stops, and unless we have to say, no, this is inside our DNA, and we have to move forward. And I think Australia here, they have room to go in the sense of making bigger federations. Even though there are big co-ops, they can make bigger ones and face the future with more tranquility.